If you've ever felt that quiet pressure to buy a house. If renting makes you feel like you're stuck while everyone else is moving forward. Or if you already bought and something about the numbers never quite added up. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand a simple rule that instantly changes how you see renting, buying, and so-called financial progress. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me start with someone you probably know. His name is Alex. Alex bought his first house at 29. Not because he loved the house. Not because the math excited him. He bought it because that's what responsible adults do. He had saved $40,000. He was tired of throwing money away on rent. His family kept asking when he'd finally buy and start building equity. The house cost $420,000. 10% down. A mortgage rate just under 7%. His monthly payment came out to about $2,500. That number felt fine. What didn't feel fine were the other numbers. Property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, utilities that were suddenly his problem. Alex's real housing cost wasn't $2,500. It was over $3,200 every single month. Before buying, Alex rented a clean apartment for $1,900. Closer to work, less stress, more flexibility. But renting felt like failure. Buying felt like progress. 4 years passed. Nothing went wrong. That's important. Alex didn't lose his job. The house didn't collapse. The market didn't crash. On paper, everything worked. Over 4 years, Alex spent roughly $150,000 just to live in that house. The home is now worth slightly more than he paid. Not a boom. Not a disaster. His remaining mortgage balance is lower. His equity looks respectable. And this is where most stories end. But this one doesn't. Because here's the question Alex never asked. What if he hadn't bought? If Alex had kept renting and invested the difference between his rent and ownership costs? Not gambling, not trading, just quietly investing month after month. That difference was around $1,400. Over 4 years, that turns into real money. Add the down payment he didn't lock into the house. Together, Alex would be tens of thousands of dollars wealthier today. Liquid wealth, accessible wealth. Instead, his money is trapped. Locked behind walls, paperwork, and interest. Selling costs money. Borrowing costs money. Waiting costs time. Alex didn't build wealth by buying. He lost ground compared to the alternative. And the worst part, he still believes he made the smart decision. Because no one ever showed him the actual maths. Here's the belief most people are taught early. Renting is throwing money away. Buying builds wealth. It sounds obvious. It feels responsible. It's also incomplete. Because when you own a home, you're still throwing money away. You just don't call it rent. Property taxes don't build equity. Insurance doesn't build equity. Maintenance doesn't build equity. Mortgage interest doesn't build equity. Those costs disappear forever. And then there's the quiet one. The cost nobody feels in the moment. The money your cash could have earned somewhere else. That's where everything changes. There's a simple way to see this clearly. It's called the 5% rule. And once you understand it, the pressure to buy starts to fade. Here's the idea. Every year, about 5% of a home's value disappears into costs that never come back. About 1% goes to property taxes. About 1% goes to maintenance and repairs. And about 3% is the cost of capital. That last one matters more than people realize. Whether you borrow or pay cash, your money has a cost. Interest paid, or investment returns you gave up. Add them together. 5%. That's the true annual cost of owning. Not the mortgage payment. Not the down payment. 5% of the home's value. That money vanishes just as completely as rent. So the rule is simple. If your annual rent is less than 5% of the home's purchase price, renting is financially better. Let's put real numbers to it. Take a $500,000 house. 5% is $25,000 per year. That's just over $2,000 a month. If you can rent a comparable place for less than that, you're better off renting. Not emotionally. Mathematically. This is where things get uncomfortable. In many major cities, renting is far cheaper than owning on a cost basis. But ownership feels like winning. So people rationalize the difference. They say things like, "At least I'm building equity. At least it's mine." But equity that costs more than it earns isn't wealth. It's an expensive lifestyle choice. Now comes the argument everyone raises next. Yeah, but homes go up in value. Sometimes, over long periods, housing barely beats inflation. About 1% real returns. People remember that their parents bought a house for $60,000 and sold it for $400,000. They forget 50 years of inflation. They remember exceptional markets. They forget average ones. And selling isn't free. Real estate commissions alone can erase years of appreciation. If you move too early, the math turns brutal. Then there's maintenance. It doesn't arrive evenly. 1 year nothing breaks. The next year everything does. Roofs, HVAC systems, plumbing, appliances, 5-figure checks that renters never see. And the down payment. That's the largest hidden cost of all. When you put $100,000 into a house, that money stops working as hard. If markets return 8% and housing returns 3%, you're losing 5% every year on that cash. That loss compounds silently. Over a decade, it becomes enormous. The 5% rule already accounts for this. That's why it's powerful. It strips away the stories and shows the trade-off. Buying can still make sense, but only under specific conditions. When rent is clearly above the 5% line. When you're confident you'll stay long enough to absorb transaction costs. When you understand you're paying for stability, not guaranteed wealth. The problem isn't buying a home. The problem is buying one while believing it's always a smart financial move. For many people, renting and investing quietly builds more wealth. It just doesn't feel like progress. And that's the trap. We mistake movement for growth. Ownership for security. Comfort for freedom. Alex thought he was building wealth. He was. He was following a script. Now you don't have to. 5%. That's the filter. Run the numbers once and the noise disappears. You're not behind for renting. You're not smarter for owning. You're either choosing with math or choosing with emotion. If this changed how you see renting and buying, hit like and subscribe. More financial illusions broken down next.